I'm Molly, and I'm celebrating my 32nd birthday this year. I hold a position of a salesperson at a specific company. My husband, Mike, was my high school classmate, and this year marks our 10th wedding anniversary. Our journey began with high school romance, leading to a long-distance relationship through college. Despite the distance, our love endured, and we tied the knot right after graduation. Our enduring love brought forth our eldest daughter, Kate, who is turning 9 this year. Currently, I'm anticipating the arrival of our second child, and despite the excitement, this pregnancy feels different. Unlike with Kate, I've noticed significant changes in my health this time around. Enduring long work hours, I felt nauseous and unusually sleepy, symptoms I didn't experience during my first pregnancy. Perhaps it's due to aging, making it harder to recover from tiredness, or maybe it's the stress from juggling work and caring for our child. After considering various possibilities, an over-the-counter pregnancy test confirmed the news. When pregnant with Kate, I had no noticeable health changes, making this intense morning sickness a new challenge. Balancing work as a salesperson while battling morning sickness, I decided to take some time off after consulting with my boss. Discussing it with Mike, he seemed surprised and unsettled by the severity of my morning sickness this time around. His memory of Kate's birth contrasted with the current situation, and he encouraged me to take a break from work. Hoping for improved health during my time off, I found the morning sickness persisting and even intensifying. Despite being at home, I struggled with daily tasks and spent most of my days in bed. Initially concerned, Mike's attitude has shifted, and he now appears frustrated with my condition. I sensed he might be thinking that since I'm not working, I should at least handle household chores. Unable to manage even simple tasks, I felt ashamed and sorry for Mike, who is busy with work. Mike's changed behavior is evident, as the warm morning hugs have turned into silent departures, with him often coming home late due to work-related overtime. My husband, Mike, is responsible for tasks like document preparation, data entry, and phone calls at his job. While overtime has always been part of his work, he reduced it after Kate's birth to spend more quality time with her. As dual income earners, we aimed to evenly divide chores, but recently he hasn't been helping much, and overtime has become consistent. The reduction in income due to my leave may have pushed Mike to strive harder at work for our family. He might prefer if I handle all the household chores. Despite understanding his perspective, with my severe morning sickness, meeting his expectations is challenging. One night, I gathered the courage to ask for his help, acknowledging his hard work and expressing my limitations due to morning sickness. Mike, displeased, insisted on the importance of him working overtime and asked me to take care of the house, disregarding my condition. I'd pleaded for his understanding and help, proposing that he come home a bit earlier to assist with chores. Mike raised his voice, expressing his frustration, and warned me about waking up Kate. I apologized repeatedly, trying to calm him down, but he retreated to our bedroom without listening. His unusual display of intense anger left me uneasy, suspecting there might be other concerns. The next morning, Mike left for work earlier than usual, seemingly avoiding me after the previous night's confrontation. Hurt by his rejection, I sighed and sat down, only to find Kate joining me. Kate, having overheard our conversation, expressed her shock at how her dad had acted. She found it terrible that he wouldn't even listen, considering my pregnancy and suffering from morning sickness, behaviors entirely unlike him. It was a frightening situation, and Kate, in a gesture of disbelief, spread her arms wide. She urged me to rest while expressing her regret for not helping with chores until then. From that morning on, Kate actively assisted with household chores. Having learned the tasks from a young age, I could confidently rely on her. It was heartening to witness my daughter's kindness blossoming. However, the strained relationship with my husband persisted. He consistently left home early and returned late, and our interactions dwindled. As the due date for our second child approached, my anxiety about our relationship grew. Just when I believed our bond was irreparable, Kate shared unexpected news one evening. With a pale face, she revealed that something was wrong but clarified that she wasn't hurt. Instead, she felt sick. Alarmed, I questioned her, and with tears welling up, Kate disclosed witnessing Dad and Abby's mom kissing on the way home from school. Abby was Kate's good friend who often visited our house. Overwhelmed with emotions, Kate sobbed into my chest. The man I thought was irreplaceable instantly became an object of hatred due to this affair. Fueled by anger and hurt, I vowed revenge and decided to gather evidence of my husband's infidelity. Despite my severe morning sickness, I initiated an investigation while my husband was away. To my dismay, I discovered numerous receipts for expensive brand name bags and accommodations that I had never seen before. The disrespect fueled my fury, and I was determined to expose the truth. Upon closer inspection, I realized these receipts raised questions about the source of the money for such lavish purchases. Gasping, I recalled something, and fueled by a burning desire to confirm the truth, managed to make my way to the bank despite being pregnant. I realized it had been a long time since I left the house, a rarity due to my persistent morning sickness. Feeling unwell, I braved the sunlight and arrived at the bank with trembling hands and nervousness, clutching my passbook. The reality I faced was one I wished to avoid. As I suspected, the expenses for Mike's frequent high-end purchases, like designer bags, were charged to our joint account. This alone fueled my anger, but the shock deepened when I discovered that despite claiming to work overtime, Mike's salary hadn't increased. His company, known for being employee-friendly, should have raised his salary with overtime hours. Yet, there was no change. It became evident that Mike's late returns were due to an affair with Abby's mother, not overtime as he claimed. Disappointed and in the midst of a challenging pregnancy, I was left deeply hurt. One evening, as Mike bathed, I bravely seized his smartphone. My hands trembled with tension as I unlocked it, taking advantage of his assumption that my morning sickness had made me less vigilant. In the chat app, I found clear exchanges confirming the affair with Abby's mother. Mike, I told my wife I have overtime so we can meet tonight. Abby's mother, really? Can we meet tonight? I can't wait to see you. Their chat was filled with embarrassing heart emojis. While such betrayal might have driven someone with strong affection to madness, my feelings had changed, allowing me to calmly focus on gathering evidence. Inspecting recent text messages, I discovered plans for a week-long trip, starting from the weekend, intended for various hikes. Unaware of this trip, my husband had made no mention. Curious about the excuse he would give on the day of the trip, I patiently waited. Finally, the morning of the trip arrived. Despite it being a holiday, Mike was busy with preparations from early morning. Me, good morning. What's got you so busy this early? Caught off guard, Mike looked surprised. Mike? Oh, well, you see. What are you doing up so early? I woke up to some noise and noticed my husband packing the suitcase. Me, what's with the suitcase? Are you going on a trip? Mike, I have a company trip for a week starting today. I thought I told you. Just wait. I'll buy you a nice souvenir. Me? Did you? Maybe forget my birthday? Never mind. Seemingly having heard the commotion, Kate woke up too. Curious about what was happening, she spoke to her father. Kate, Dad, what's happening? Are you leaving? Mike, I'm going on a company trip. I'll bring back a souvenir. So let's look forward to it. Got it? Can't wait for the souvenir. Take care. With smiles, Mike left the house with a wry smile. After he left, Kate and I looked at each other and burst into laughter. Kate, Dad's voice was shaking when he lied. Anyone could tell he was lying. After sharing a good laugh, we began discussing our next steps. Me? Okay, I'm about to discuss something important. Listen carefully. I'm thinking of getting a divorce. I believe it's crucial for you too, so I'd like to hear your thoughts. Kate, Beam only 9, said, I think it's better for you to get a divorce. I'm embarrassed and don't like having a father who cheats on Mom. I'm sure Abby would feel the same. Me, Did something happen with Abby too? Throughout our discussion, Kate seemed concerned about Abby's situation. Kate. Abby's mom used to just relax at home and never did anything. But she suddenly disappeared, so Abby was really upset. Just as Dad betrayed our trust, it seems that Abby's mother also betrayed her daughter's trust. Upon hearing this fact, I felt strongly that there should be no compromise when it comes to taking revenge on them. Abby seems to be going through a lot too. We need to punish both of them. I felt a surge of motivation that I could never have imagined before. With determination, I took action. First, to stop Mike from spending any money, I canceled our credit cards. I decided it was necessary to fairly divide the savings in our joint account, so I transferred half of it to my account. To avoid disputes over property division in the divorce, I decided to secure my assets early on. Kate and I started packing up our belongings. I had already explained the situation to my parents, so we decided to move back to their home. Kate, let me confirm once more. Once we divorce, we can't come back to this house. Are you really okay with that? Kate? Yes, I'm okay. Then let's go to Grandpa and Grandma's house. Kate? Yes, let's go quickly. Kate seemed to be filled with anticipation. She seemed neither sad about our divorce nor mournful, but rather had a cheerful look, which put my mind at ease for the moment. We completed the move to my parents' house in high spirits. I decided to let go of the house filled with memories of our time with Mike and start a new chapter in my life. This decision came after discovering a message exchange between Mike and Abby's mother. I want to be freed from that house as soon as possible. I want a divorce right away and live with you. From the messages, it appeared that Abby's mother had already moved back to her parents' home. To think she would abandon her family, including her young daughter, for an affair and selfishly move back to her parents' house. It's unbelievable. I found out that Mike had visited Abby's mother's parents' house from the history on his car navigation system. I packed up Mike's belongings and sent them to that address, his mistress Abby's mother. Subsequently, I terminated our house. This way, my husband would be able to live freely with Abby's mother, as he insisted he was on a company trip. I sent my husband's valuables along with a letter to his company. With the house emptied, the weight on my heart lifted, and I felt refreshed and ready to take a new step forward. The next morning, I received an early call from my husband. Molly, I'm sorry. I seem to be running out of money. It looks like I forgot some cash at home. Oh dear, that's a bummer. Mike, I'm really in a bind. Can you transfer some money to my account, even if it's just a little? Things are a bit tight for me this month. Since you're on a company trip, maybe you can borrow from a colleague. Well, about that, just explain your situation and borrow from your colleagues. I'm having severe morning sickness right now, and it's hard for me to talk. I'm hanging up. Mike? Wait, hold on. I felt a bit better knowing that my husband couldn't use his credit card anymore. It was easy to imagine that this made the pleasant trip with his mistress very tense for him. The phone calls from my husband didn't stop. I sent him a message saying I have severe morning sickness and can't answer the phone. Don't call me anymore. No matter how many times he called, I didn't answer. 3 days later, I received another call from him and reluctantly picked up. Molly, why is the house empty? What's going on? Weren't you supposed to be on a trip for 7 days? Why are you back so soon? My husband was initially at a loss for words, but his anger quickly erupted. Mike, everything's gone. Even the contract has been terminated. Isn't that too selfish? Who's being selfish now? You were on a trip with your mistress, right? I've sent all our stuff to Abby's parents' house and started the divorce proceedings. Everything's going according to your wishes. Goodbye and good luck. Mike, what? You found out about the affair and you're divorcing me. Realizing that I knew about his affair and even who the other woman was, he was visibly shaken. I hung up and deleted all his contacts from my phone. With nowhere to go, my husband seemingly took refuge at Abby's parents' house. At their house, Abby's mother was kneeling with her head down, and across from her sat her parents, her husband, and Abby, all of them looking furious. Apparently, Abby's mother had returned home claiming she couldn't bear the emotional abuse from her husband. Her parents believed her and felt sorry for her, but the reality was different. Since they found out she had been lying and was even having an affair, there was no way they would forgive her. Abby's mother and my husband were both severely reprimanded, made to sign divorce papers in front of everyone, and forced to pay compensation. Afterwards, her parents kicked them both out. Since returning to my parents' home, Kate and I have been living freely. My worries disappeared, my morning sickness subsided, allowing me to return to work after my maternity leave was finished. Every day, Kate seems to enjoy playing with her grandparents after returning from school. The divorce proceedings went smoothly thanks to the support of my lawyer. Of course, I had ample evidence which allowed the divorce to proceed in my favor. In order to secure my ex-husband's income, I demanded both compensation and child support payments and sent a letter to his company asking them not to let him resign. His boss, a married man with children, saw the letter and was furious. He negotiated with the company to deduct compensation and child support payments from my ex-husband's salary. With this boss always keeping a close eye on my ex-husband's actions, even if he faced any challenges at work, it seems unlikely he will be able to quit his job that easily. My ex-husband is financially struggling because he spent too much money on his mistress's lavish lifestyle. On top of that, having lost his home, he is forced to live in a cheap company dorm, making it hard for him to quit his job easily. And Abby and her father have now found peace. Abby has accepted her parents' divorce and seems to smile more compared to before. She told Kate that she genuinely enjoys living with her father. Knowing that Abby is living a happy life brought genuine relief to my heart. Soon after I gave birth to a lovely baby boy, the fact that my ex-husband can't hold my beloved son in his arms shows how stupid he was. When Kate saw her adorable brother, she cheered and delighted. I looked at both my beloved daughter and son's faces and vowed in my heart to raise both of them well.